Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission inconclusive on relocating 2 tigers housed in a residential facility in Accra.
4 persons remanded for their alleged role in rioting at Nkoranza police station.
Also in this package, importance of digitized measuring tools played up on World Meteorology Day.
And 10 European countries record cases of monkeypox, a viral infection common in Central and West Africa. Good evening and welcome to another edition of News Hour right here on GBC News and on GTV. My name is Jonathan Thompson.
Mine is Clara Mlano.
And to our first story. The Ghana Standards Authority is encouraging traders and businesses to adopt a digital form of measuring tools to ensure that they provide efficient services to their customers. The head of the Scientific Metrology Department of the Ghana Standards Authority, Mr. John Dankwa, said a mistake in measurement can result in a disaster, and everyone must take advantage of the transformation and come along with the digital world to calibrate their equipment to meet with international standards.
May 20 each year is celebrated as the World Meteorology Day.
To mark the anniversary of the signing of the Meter Convention in 1875, this treaty provides the basis for a signing for a worldwide coherent measurement system. The measurement of foodstuffs, medical supplies, land and petroleum products are examples of products that have seen changes with the onset of measuring systems. This year, the celebration is under the theme, The Metrology in the Digital Era. The International Organization of Legal Metrologists are examining the new digital framework that could be deployed in all metrology communities to ensure the conformity with international standards. In Ghana, the Ghana Standards Authority is working to build a National Metrology Institute that will establish an institutional framework for metrology to guide industries and consumers. The Ghana Standards Authority is in the process of digitalizing its operations to make its services more accessible to the public.
This platform is designed to improve work interactions and optimize the customer experience across the full service delivery ecosystem. The 3 arms of metrology, as has been said earlier, the legal, industrial, and scientific metrology, have been migrated onto the core ops platform.
The head of the Scientific Metrology Department of the authority, Mr. John Dankwa, encouraged industries to regularly calibrate their weighing and measuring equipment to ensure accuracy in their measurement.
When you are going to actually buy a cloth in the market, if somebody just uses his hand to measure the length of the cloth for you and all of that. We are hoping that whilst we enter into the digital era, we would avoid the use of some of these and actually employ the use of appropriate weighing and measuring instruments to actually improve the quality of our lives.
The authority says technology has a lot to offer and all stakeholders must take advantage of it to deliver on better measuring services.
And now moving on, the Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission says the tigers belonging to the businessman Nana Kwame Bediako, popularly called Freedom Jacob Caesar, do not pose a threat. Officials of the commission have visited the home of Mr. Bediako to assess the condition of the tigers and say they are felines.
The residents of Mr. Bediako, the 6-month-old tigers, were in their cage. The Director of Operations at the Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission, Mr. Nuri Kanton, said the tigers are in good condition and their welfare is fine. He said it is okay for the general public, especially those who live in the neighborhood, to go about their everyday duties.
We are satisfied with the conditions under which they are living here, and we also want to thank the police who are also providing security here. There are all assurances that the next step will see these animals out of this place.
Mr. Canton said the division would decide the next line of action regarding the relocation of the tigers, but did not have any timeline for now.
Because to relocate them to this new environment to meet another design, another construction of the cage to the appropriate place. So that is the next step we'll be looking at.
The Techiman Circuit Court has remanded 4 persons allegedly involved in the disturbance and rioting at the police station into police custody for 2 weeks. The irate youth besieged a police station following the alleged murder of a young man identified as Albert Donko while in police custody. The riot led to the shooting to death of 1 person while others sustained injuries.
Death of Albert Donko, an indigene of Nkuranza. The Bono East Regional Security Council, RECSEC, has had several meetings with stakeholders in the area for a lasting solution to the disturbances in the area. The Bono Regional Minister, Mr. Edu Jan, in an interview with GBC News correspondent Samuel Ayama, said the fight for justice is what is needed now for a lasting peace to prevail at Nkuranza.
Currently, there are 2 issues. The fight for justice for Abedonko. I want us to treat the difference from the incident at occurred. I think and I believe that each and every Ghanaian will agree with me that the fight for justice for Abedonko should be pursued in its entirety to a conclusion that will be accepted. If that is not done, there will be no peace in the place.
Mr. Edu Jan asked indigenes of Nkuranza to exercise restraints while investigations are properly conducted.
The disturbances and those criminal acts will also be looked at as kind of. And I think that is what the police is currently looking at. They are gathering the necessary information in respect to the hooliganism. That came up on that fateful Tuesday. So I'm assuring the youth and the people of Nkuranza to exercise the restraint when everything is, whatever that need to be gathered, whatever details that need to be furnished to the national security when it's made. I think the security apparatus will sit down and make a decision that the people of Nkuranza and Nanano will be satisfied.
About 57 police officers have been asked to leave Nkuranza in the Bono East region, but there is still an easy calm in the area.
Away from that, the Young Men Christian Association, YMCA, has organized a stakeholder engagement to find a lasting solution to perennial flooding in the country, particularly at Dabraka, one of the areas in Accra most vulnerable to flooding. The YMCA has already come up with a public education strategy to help address flooding under the slogan, "Attack the Flood, we are ready."
Despite massive flood control efforts, flooding continues to be a major challenge in the Greater Accra metropolitan area especially. Ghana has experienced major flooding in the last 2 decades, the severest of which occurred in 2007, 2010, 2011, 2015 and 2020 in major urban areas. The one that occurred on June 3, 2015, in which more than 100 people died, is about the biggest scar in the memory of Ghanaians. Therefore, the YMCA's focus on Adabraka is not surprising. However, opinion leaders at the Engagement Forum entreated the Young Men Christian Association to extend its focus beyond Adabraka. A former assemblyman for Adabraka, Mr. Mohammed Noga, advised against dumping of rubbish into drains. The aide to the Accra Metropolitan Chief Executive, Mr. Evans Asamoah, who doubles as the Resilience and Sustainability A said the Assembly is ready to partner the YMCA to find a solution to the perennial flooding in Adabraka.
That it is very important that we all put our efforts together, because the aftermath of flood does not know political colors. It does not know political boundaries, and it does not know societal connections. Wherever you find yourself, please, let's come together and begin to find lasting solutions to it.
Cedric Jelu is the project's lead.
There has been a number of attempts or actions to address the flooding situation. We have seen NADMO coming in to take a number of steps. We have seen other organizations doing here and there. However, the gap we find is that most of the solutions are top-down. But we are engineering solution that is from bottom up to ensure that the community will participate actively in the solutions of addressing the floods.
Flooding is among the world's top 10 natural disasters and hazards and ranks second after epidemics such as bacterial and viral infectious diseases.
The second edition of the Green Ghana initiative will be observed on June 10, 2022. About 20,000 tree seedlings are to be planted across the country. Almost a year after the first edition, TBC News has visited some sites at Joburg in the Ashanti region where trees were planted to ascertain the progress of the plants so far. The team observed that residents of the town, led by some opinion leaders, have adopted strategies to ensure the seedlings thrive.
The Green Ghana initiative forms part of the government's afforestation plan to restore the country's lost forest cover. In the first edition, launched last year, over 5 million tree seedlings were planted nationwide. In the Joburg municipality, dignitaries including the UN resident coordinator, the Ashanti regional minister, the chief of Joburg, Nanoto Srebo, participated in a tree planting exercise. Almost a year down the line, GBC News has visited areas where the tree seedlings were planted. The seedlings have been fenced with wire mesh to protect them from being destroyed by stray animals. Different types of flowers have also been planted to beautify the streets of the town. Collins Sapon, a resident of the town, says he has been nurturing the plants.
Yeah, boys, you are not Pabia. Yes, Solia, fat. I did the Buniano, and in our so. And we are Bamusua, yet to two. And put the quality and I see the Biadamwa. It may pick a picking in a Sanabea, Hanum in our bay. Come at you. Obio Baby Champion will be a who I was Yanum there. I hire Dubai, and I had a toy. I had a driving Concom Dubai.
Kwabinanti, also a resident, says they were encouraged by the chief to Srebo to support the initiative by taking care of the plants. At the Joburg Methodist cluster of schools, some of the plants are doing well, whilst others have died. The headmaster of the school is Mr. Isaac Opokwasari.
Every morning we have some students who have been tasked to fetch water and then water them. Initially they were doing well, but because we don't have fence wall around the school, those goats and other animals racing around disturb us a lot.
Mr. Opokwasari advised Ghanaians to own the Greening Ghana project to make it a success.
Dubai indeed. Over 150 youth in the Sisala West District of the Upper West region are to receive training in employable skills. This is to enable them to be self-independent. The 3-year initiative was launched at Bolu.
Lack of employment opportunities for the youth in the northern parts of the country has been cited as one of the main motivations for migrating to the south and other parts of the country. It's against this backdrop that the MP for Sisala West constituency has launched an initiative to provide skills development and entrepreneurial training for the youth.
I have stayed true to this commitment and have since focused on improving our beloved constituencies in areas of health delivery, educational infrastructure, increased access to tertiary education for our young ones through scholarship support schemes, and providing employment for the youth through skills development and entrepreneurial trainings.
The paramount chief of Zinikoro, Abudiaka Sukabe Ninia, commended the MP for asked the district assembly to ensure the success of such interventions.
Aggregating the potentials of the unemployed youth towards these skills, formally or informally, helps in consolidating our readiness to take advantage of the physical space existing in our infrastructure economy.
The Member of Parliament for Jarapa, Mr. Kletu Seidu Dapila, was not happy that they implemented the electronic transaction levy in spite of complaints from the public. 48 sewing machines were presented to some of the beneficiaries.
Kose is a popular street food in Ghana, where its origins link to the Hausa people. It is a popular savory food, fried bean cake. It is highly nutritious and easy to prepare. Beans is rich in protein, folate, and antioxidants. Let's join Auntie Lariba, a popular Kose vendor at Nima, to take us through the simple steps of preparing authentic Kose on Chopology today.
The ingredients: beans, onions, salt, oil, Scotch bonnet pepper, or any spices of your choice. Remove any stones or garden debris from the beans. Beans is soaked in water for a day or two prior to preparation. Dehull the beans, that is, remove the skin and black eyes. Add the onion, ginger, which is optional, Scotch bonnet pepper and other spices of your choice to the beans, and take it to the mill or blend into a smooth texture. Pour the blended mixture into a bowl, add eggs, then using your hand ladle or hand whisk, beat or mix continuously to entrap air. This process will make the mixture fluffy. You can add chopped onions and beat or whisk the mixture further. Heat up the cooking oil in a small to medium-sized saucepan. Test the readiness of the oil by adding a shaved piece of ginger or onion. If it sizzles and rises to the top, the oil is hot enough. Scoop the butter with a spoon and drop into the oil. You will see them puff up into round balls. Allow to fry for 3 to 4 minutes. Turn them from bottom to top to ensure they are evenly browned. Once cooked, scoop them out of the oil using a slotted spoon and put them in a sieve or allow to drain on a paper towel. Serve as a snack with hot pepper sauce or tomato gravy. You can also enjoy them the traditional Hausa breakfast way, that is, with porridge known as Hausa cocoa. And have you tried the latest addition to the Kose family, that is the Kose bread? It is simple to prepare. Just cut tea bread into sizable bits and shapes. Dip into the Kose butter and make sure the entire bread is covered with the butter. Fry for about 3 to 4 minutes and oh my, this is something else.
That was mouth-watering. Now, on Friday, while addressing a 5-member delegation from Nigeria, the chief executive of Cocoa Board, Mr. Joseph Boahin Edu, encouraged African countries and cocoa-producing African countries to support the Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire Cocoa Initiative to boost Africa's commodity value at the international markets and for Africa to determine its own prices. GTV Breakfast Show sought the views of panelists on the issue. They hailed the Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire Cocoa Initiative as progressive, since Africa produces 80% of the world's cocoa but benefits less.
Believe in African unity. So therefore, if the CEO of Cocoa Board is calling on Africans to team up so that they will decide on the price of their produce, I think it is in the right direction. Because if it's anything at all, wheat that is produced from other countries, we don't determine the prices for them, but we import and then do what? Bake our bread and what have you. So why is it that we are producing 20% on the African continent and then we will just sit aloof? They'll tell you, this is the price we are going to give you. You either take it or leave it. That is why we must put or add value to whatever we are producing as a continent.
It is good that now we are realizing that we have to do this. It is good that the president is now talking about it openly and in all manner of places wherever he goes now. He's been on the financial people, the rating agencies, he's been on their case. He's been on the case of other countries in negotiations for monies. And the last time he made an acknowledgement, and I agreed with him, that Angola, that has not, and even Ghana, we have not, when you don't pay your debt, what do you call it?
We haven't defaulted.
We haven't defaulted. Angola has never defaulted. But when you go onto the international market to go and borrow, Argentina that has defaulted for how many times, and the last time one of their ships was even captured right here in Ghana by a Ghanaian lawyer. He put a ban on their ship at our port. I heard they have defaulted over 7-8 times in the last 3 years. But their credit ratings are higher than Angola's.
Why?
How? So that's, thank you. We are black, we are Africans. So it is good that we are all realizing it, and sectors of our economies are coming together. I heard the gold side for some time now. You know, PMMC has been on this drive to keep 30% of our gold here,
and to have a gold industry,
and to have a jewelry industry. We've been on that case. I've been one of those really pushing for it. We've had I heard there's a bill in Parliament to that effect. There's a refinery that is built that I think they started. So we are on the move.
What is the one that
Jamaica's Minister for Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Madam Kamina Johnson-Smith, is now the Diaspora and Tourism Queen of Ikropon in the Krapim North Municipality of the Eastern Region, with the stool name Abina Otua Isiedu. She was installed by the Krapim Hene of the Krapim traditional area, Osadieyo Kwesi Ekufo. The event attracted Jamaican citizens in Ghana and the general public.
The Senator, Kamina Johnson-Smith, is an attorney at law with approximately 15 years at the Jamaican bar. Jamaica is a mountainous island in the Caribbean Sea, located east of Central America. Before becoming a foreign minister, Kamina Johnson-Smith successfully managed several philanthropic projects and a home for children with physical disabilities. In his speech, Chief of Staff at the Okwapam Hene's Palace, Mr. George Adoyobo, said Okwapaman's relationship with Jamaicans started way back in 1835 when Reverend Paul came to Ikropon to establish the first Presbyterian church in the area. He encouraged the government of Jamaica to invest in the area of health and tourism in Ikropon.
Ikropon is your home, and we pray that the historic visit of yours will open doors for deeper collaborations, not only between Okwapaman and Jamaica, but between Ghana and Jamaica as a whole. We have enormous untapped potentials in Okwapaman, from tourism, agriculture, health, education, and my administration will guarantee you an enabling investment environment for direct investments to Okwapaman.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson-Smith, accepted the honor bestowed on her and said she would create opportunities between her country and Ghana in the area of tourism. She further stated that her office would encourage more Jamaicans to visit Ikropon, where their ancestors once lived, and also learn the culture of the Ikwapims. Dignitaries who took part in the events included a former Chief Justice, Justice Sophia Ekufo, the Honorary Consul of Jamaica in Ghana, Mr. Isaac Emil Osei-Bonsu, Jamaican citizens in Ghana, and the general public.
You're live on News Hour right here on GBC News and on GTV. We'll take a quick break. Stay with us.
Time now for business. A team from Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is in Ghana to study cocoa board on the operations of the living income differentials, LID. The visit is also to help improve Nigeria's cocoa production from the current volume of 340,000 to 500,000 metric tons by 2024.
In 2019, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire announced a new cocoa trading pricing mechanism offering $40 per ton living income differential to a farmer. The LID was introduced as a guarantee to the $2,600 per ton floor price. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire are the top two producers of cocoa beans, with a duo producing 65% of annual global supply. Currently, a cocoa secretariat is in Ghana after the Cote d'Ivoire-Ghana Cocoa Initiative was born out of a mutual desire by the leadership of both countries to improve living conditions of cocoa farmers. Interacting with a team from Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the chief executive of Cocoa Board, Mr. Joseph Boahin Edu, said Nigeria has a lot to learn from Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire since their cocoa situation differs with regards to liberalization of the sale of the commodity.
We operate a structure that is basically public. We have a board in Ghana, board in Cote d'Ivoire. Operations of cocoa, especially when it comes to marketing and trading, are being done by individual private companies in a centralized regulation. Now, when it comes to that, it makes it difficult for the LID to flow, smoothly to the farmer.
As of February this year, Nigeria had lost 60 billion naira annually to non-collection of living income differential. Mindful of this, a delegation from Nigeria is in Ghana to share ideas and learn the best practices of cocoa board with regards to production and how to improve the lot of farmers. The Director, Federal Development of Agriculture, Mr. Abdullahi Abubakar, said the LID, if well coordinated, will give cocoa producers the leverage that OPEC has.
This visit is aimed at improving our cocoa production from the present 340,000 metric tons to at least 500,000 tons by 2024. Nigeria is in line up to join the LID system, which will also guarantee that the premium charge in the $100 billion chocolate industry will help in boosting the income of the smallholder cocoa farmers.
Cocoa Board advised the team to put in place a feasible structure regarding its governance system and compliance to ensure the implementation of the LID in Nigeria. This means if Nigeria and Cameroon should come on board, cocoa production from all 4 cocoa-growing countries will total to 75% of the world's cocoa production.
The business segment is brought to you by QNet. Moving on, between 720 million and 811 million people in the world faced hunger in 2022, around 1 in 10, according to the UN estimates. Addressing the UN Security Council in New York, Ghana's Foreign Minister, Madam Shirley Ayokobuchi, says the situation, which was brought on by COVID-19 pandemic but has now been exacerbated by the conflicts in Ukraine, could worsen if bold and urgent actions are not taken by the international community.
Conflict and hunger move in tandem, especially when one intensifies, the other usually follows. As in any crisis, it is the poorest and most vulnerable who are the hardest hit. Just as the global economy was recovering from the losses made from the COVID-19 pandemic, the conflict in Ukraine reared its ugly head. 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic have already taken a considerable toll on global food systems and the ability of the world to feed its 7.9 billion people. The UN the conflict will have on global food security. At the moment, the headwinds are blowing across the globe, driving food prices that's pushing central banks to hike interest rates to tame inflation. Participating in a debate at the UN headquarters in New York on global food security call to action, Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Shirley Ayokobuchi, stressed the need to build the resilience of vulnerable countries in West Africa and the Sahel against drought and desertification for the reversal of the devastating effect of climate change on food production.
The ramifications indeed go beyond our food systems. Entire economies have been disrupted, with millions and millions experiencing severe economic hardships under conditions that threaten the stability of national life. The need for urgent and bold international action, both to respond to the humanitarian disaster unfolding in parts of Africa, to build resilience for the future, has never been more urgent.
Ending hunger is the second on the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. The UN expressed concern that an extended conflict in Ukraine could limit the world's supply of staple crops such as wheat, corn and sunflower oil, resulting in skyrocketing food prices and hunger. This could jeopardize global food security and heighten geopolitical tensions. Edward Nyakun reporting for GBC News.
Your business news brought to you by QNet.
Hello, good evening. You live on News Hour with Mabel Anang. Let's do some energy stories. Petroleum consumers in the Karachi West and the Oti region are worried about the fuel shortage in the area. They complain that the situation is affecting their lives in many ways. The filling stations in the municipality, Gol and Cash Oil, have had no fuel for days.
Have had to park their vehicles for days due to the shortage of fuel. Cash Oil, which was consistent with fuel supply, had to rely on another filling station in a nearby district to serve a few of customers. The fuel stations say they have no knowledge when they will get any consignment. GBC News spoke to fuel station attendants, Mr. Emmanuel Amaku and Madam Elizabeth Entry.
For the past 3 weeks, almost getting to a month now, if you come to Karachi West, it's only Cash Oil that have fuel.
A lot of customers in
The shortage of fuel has curtailed the movement of vehicles in the community. Customers are frustrated over the issue. Government should help us.
Especially when we use petrol cars. I want to know where you are. A hundred.
A dealer who had a car of petrol was doing brisk business selling to motorists who desperately needed the commodity. Some petroleum consumers expressed their frustrations.
It's actually disturbing us so bad. We don't have petrol, and from 3 days ago, we don't know what to do. So we wish that those supplying could come early and help us so that we'll be able to do our daily runs.
We have been to the filling station countless times. We need help. We are pleading with authorities to come to our aid. Activities have come to a halt.
Petroleum consumers are suffering due to the shortage. We now charge according to the fuel we buy. The implication of the shortage is enormous. I am taking my brother to the hospital. I passed by the station to buy fuel, only to be told there is a shortage. We need help. Help us get fuel.
The National Petroleum Authority has, however, assured that the country has enough petroleum products.
Concerns over industries paying higher electricity tariffs than residential consumers remains topical in the midst of calls for an upward adjustment in tariffs. Explaining the situation, the director at the Office of the Deputy Chief Executive of the Volta River Authority, VRA, Dr. Abubakari Adi, said the difference in the electricity pricing is due to the tariff structure.
Of industries paying higher tariffs, I believe the issue is around the tariff structure. And I believe it's very good for the public to raise the issue. And I believe because the regulators are here, they will have a second look at it. I mean, it has been raised over the years that in Ghana, it appears we are doing the reverse. In many parts of the world, the industries tend to get a lower tariff than the consumers. So I believe the PRC will take that into consideration.
This is how we wrap up on the energy segment with Mabel Anna. Health News is up next.
And now we bring you some health stories. World Family Doctors Day was marked in Accra with a focus on the impact of climate change on health. Air pollution, floods, droughts and heat waves are all factors of climate change that have dire effects on the health of vulnerable groups such as women, children, the aged, as well as the disabled. The doctors describe the impact of climate change as a public health emergency requiring a concerted effort to mitigate. Here's a report by Sarah Ofori.
A doctor is a physician specialist or consultant who renders holistic care for the family regardless of age, sex, and the type of ailment. According to training by doctors in the country, most of the diseases seen had linkages with the effects of climate change. The absence of potable water, especially during droughts, gives rise to the incidence of waterborne diseases. Again, exposure to air pollutants such as mercury and carbon dioxide also cause obstruction to the lungs. Foods cultivated with agrochemicals are also contaminated with poisonous substances. Cardiovascular diseases and psychological conditions are all as a result of heat waves. Vector-borne and diarrheal diseases are also traced to flooding. These informed the theme for the 2022 World Family Doctors Day celebration, which also looked at how to reduce inequities and the consequences of climate change on the population, especially vulnerable groups such as women, children, the aged, as well as the disabled and low-income earners. A panel discussion by the Environmental Protection Agency, the Family Physician Consultant, and the mining industry looked at how to create climate-resilient health systems, renewable energy sources, eliminating food and air contaminants. As a request was made for the inclusion of health impact assessments as a legal requirement for the granting of permits in the execution of major infrastructural projects in the country. Since coastal communities are also vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, the traditional leaders of Osu pledged to make significant inputs to reduce the impact of climate change. The Deputy Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Fosu, entreated the family doctors to form a network of practice to promote wellness clinics, delivering the address on behalf of the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Kufado. Special advisor on HIV and AIDS at the office of the First Lady, Mrs. Mokwa Blay Edujemfi, said citizens must endeavor to adopt greener and healthier lifestyle. To reduce greenhouse emissions, governments will by June this year plant 20 million trees to add to the over 5 million trees planted last year. Tackling climate change is expected to reduce poverty, hunger, and ensure sustainable cities.
The health stories are brought to you by Lufat. The WHO country representative, Dr. Francis Kasolo, says Ghana should hold itself in readiness for a surge in COVID-19 cases, as is the case in some countries across the globe. While he presented some emergency equipment and supplies, of Health, he further warned against complacency since the sub-region is constantly threatened by diseases of public health concern such as yellow and Lassa fevers, Ebola and measles. Another report by Sarah Fori.
There has been a significant drop in the number of reported cases of COVID-19 in Ghana in recent times, which led to the easing of restrictions. However, there are concerns that most people have stopped wearing masks in crowded public places and fail to wash hands and maintain social distance. Vaccination exercises have also been met with hesitancy. To support the country to build a resilient health system, especially its emergency preparedness, the World Health Organization gave the Ministry of Health a shot in the arm with items worth $35,000. The items include 40 oxygen concentrators and spare 2,400 Venturi masks for both adults and pediatrics, as well as 8,000 pieces of nasal cannula with prongs for both adults and pediatrics. During the presentation, the WHO country representative, Dr. Francis Kasolo, cautioned the ministry that the country risks recording a surge in COVID-19 cases. He also said the country must be prepared to respond to threats of other infections of public health concern. The items were received by the Deputy Minister for Health, Mr. Mahama Seiseni, who assured the WHO of equitable distribution and judicious use of the items. Serofori, GBC News, Accra.
We now bring you some pointers you should know about malaria.